गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन। आप सबका स्वागत है आपके अपने चैनल फास्ट ट्रैक ऑनलाइन तैयारी में। मैं प्रकाश शुक्ला इस चैनल के माध्यम से आप सबको इंडियन पॉलिटी के बारे में बताना चाहता हूँ। इंडियन पॉलिटी का पहला चैप्टर है हिस्टोरिकल बैकग्राउंड। हिस्टोरिकल बैकग्राउंड जो कि एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल फ्रेमवर्क का पार्ट फर्स्ट का एक चैप्टर है। पार्ट फर्स्ट में टोटल 11 चैप्टर हैं। पहला हिस्टोरिकल बैकग्राउंड, मेकिंग ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, साइलेंट फीचर ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, प्रियम्बल ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, यूनियन एंड इट्स टेरिटरी, सिटीजनशिप, फंडामेंटल राइट्स, डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल ऑफ स्टेट पॉलिसी, फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज, अमेंडमेंट ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। हिस्टोरिकल बैकग्राउंड. What is historical background? Historical background means when the British came to India in 1600 by Queen Elizabeth I 1765, Diwani rights over revenue and civil justice, Bengal, Bihar, Odisha. 1858 Sipai Mutiny, the British Crown assumed direct responsibility for the governance of the India. M. N. Roy thought for a need of a constitution in 1934, for the purpose of which a constitution assembly was formed in 1964, gave constitution on January 26, 1950. Okay, on January 26, 1950. And British India. These events have greatly influenced our constitution and polity. They are explained here. Explained here in a chronological order under two major heading. First, the company rule, and second, the crown rule. And the company rule in this 1773, there are some parts. First is Regulating Act of 1773 to 1858. First step taken by the British government to regulate the affairs of EIC, East India Company, in India. Recognize political and administrative function of the company, laid the foundation of central administration in India. There are some features of Regulating Act of 1773 that designated the Governor of Bengal as the Governor General of Bengal. First Governor General was Lord Warren Hastings, associated by 4 members, Executive Council, fixed tenure 5 years. Governor of Bombay and Madras are under Governor General of Bengal, that subordinate. Provided for establishment of SC at Calcutta 1774, first Chief Justice plus 3 other judges. No private trade allowed to the servant of the company. British government control over company strengthened by requiring court of directors to report civil and military affairs in India. It prohibited servant of the company, company and engaging trade, accepting present or bribes from natives. Natives means moon Nivasi. Now we are go ahead for Amending Act of 1781. Settlement. Amendment to Regulate Act 1773 exempted Governor General and Council and servant of the company from jurisdiction of Supreme Court. Revenue matter exempted from SC jurisdiction. Supreme Court enforced personal laws of resident of Calcutta. Appeal from provincial court to Governor General in Council, not SC. Supreme Court. Now we have to go ahead for Wits India Act 1784. Companies territories in India called British possessions in India. British government supreme control over companies affairs and administration of India. We have to go ahead for features. Wits India Act features are there. The features distinguish between commercial and political function of the company, allowed the court of director to manage commercial affairs, but created new body called Board of Control, BOC, to manage political affairs. established system of double government, empowered the board of control to supervise and operate of civil military government or revenues of the British possessions in India. Now we have to go for Act of 1786. Act of 1786. It's not the most important that act of in this Lord Cornwallis Lord Cornwallis was appointed as a governor general as a governor general as a governor general general of Bengal. He gave override power to override. He should be power to override the decision of his council in special cases. He would also be the Commander-in-Chief Act of 1786. Now the next topic is Charter Act of 1793. 1813. Sorry. 1813. Abolished trade monopoly. There is a features only. Abolished trade monopoly except for tea trade and trade with China. Asserted sovereignty of crown to territories of company in India. Power to impose taxes with local government and punish for non-payment. We have to look for some Charter Act of 1793 features that control over the government subordinate presidencies subordinate ordinate presidencies seas of Bombay and Madras. It extend trade monopoly extend trade monopoly company in India for another period of 20 years. 20 years. It provided Commander-in-Chief was not the member of Governor General of Council unless he was appointed, and it laid down that the member of Board of Control means BOC, and their staff, and henceforth it paid out of the Indian revenues. Indian revenues. Have to go for next topic, that is Charter Act of 1833. 1833 made Governor General of Bengal as the Governor General of India. William Bentinck first. Civil and military. Deprived the Governor General of Bombay and Madras Governor General of GG of India was given exclusive legislative power for the entire British India. Ended activities of East India Company as a commercial body, became a purely administrative body, introduced open system competitions for selection of civil servants, negated by Court of Directors. There are some features of Charter Act 1833. 1833. Oh, I think the slide was not there, so we have to look at a rough work. So to blank Charter Act 1833, that is, made the Governor General of Bengal as the Governor General of India and vested in civil military powers, and it deprived Governor of Bombay and Madras of their legislative power. and it also East India Company as a commercial body, commercial body, and became purely administrative body. Administrative body. Body. The Charter Act of 1830 attempted introduce 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 system of open competition, open competition, open competition, selection of civil servant, selection of civil servant, and civil servant and holding any of place office employment under company. However, this provision was in case opposition from the court of directors. Now we have to look for Charter Act of 1853. Charter Act of 18 introduced an open competition system of selection and requirement of civil servant Macaulay Committee. In this we have to Macaulay Committee of 1854 first time separated legislative and executive function. Governor General's Council introduced first time local representations in the Indian Legislative Council. Out of 4 members were appointed by local provincial government of Madras, Bombay and Agra. Now we have to go for the Crown Rule. The Crown Rule. Government of India Act 1858, known as Act of for the Good Government of India, abolished the East India Company (EIC), transferred the power of government, territories and revenue to the British Crown. Now we have the features that designated Governor General of India to Viceroy of India, Lord Canning. First, Indian double government system by abolishing Board of Control and Court of Directors. Created new office, Secretary of State, India vested complete authority, control over Indian administrations. Established a 15-member of India advisory body to assist Secretary for India, who acted as chairman of the council. Largely confined administrative machine by which Indian government to suppress control in Indian land. Number of government system altered substantial manner. We have to talk for Indian Council Act of 1861. Indian Council Act of 1861. Indian Council Act of 1861. In this, British government felt necessity seeking the corporation of India and administrations of their country. 3 acts were enacted by the British Parliament in 1861, 1862 and 1909. I repeat that 3 acts were enacted by the British Parliament in 1861, 1892, 1909. The Council of India Act 1861 is an important landmark in the constitutional and political history. The features of this act were made magnificent representative institution by associating Indians with the law-making process. It does provide that Viceroy should nominate some Indian as non-official member and of his expanded council. Lord Canning in 1862, Lord Canning and then Viceroy nominated 3 Indian to his legislative council. First is Raja of Benares. Second is Maharaja of Patiala. Third is Sir Dinkar Rao. Dinkar Rao. It initiated the process of decentralization by restoring legislative powers to Bombay and Madras presidencies. Now we have to look for goals of including Indians in lawmaking. Features are there. Viceroy to nominate Viceroy to nominate some Indias some Indians as member of members to the Council of 1862. Lord Canning appointed Raja of Banaras, Maharaja Patiala Shadinkar. Legislative powers devolved to Bombay and Madras presidencies. New Legislative Council of South Bengal 1862. 1886. Punjab 1897 ordinance making power to Viceroy without concurrence of the Legislative Council during an emergency. Now we have to talk about Indian Council Act 1892 made limited and indirect provisions for nomination for filling up seats in central and provincial legislative councils. Features are there. Increased number of additional and non-official members in central and provincial legislative councils. Legislative councils forward to discuss budgets and address questions to executives. Nominations on recommendation of Viceroy, Central LC, and Governor Provincial of Legislative Councils. Now we have to talk about Indian Council Act 1900, now known as Morley Minto reforms. Morley Secretary of State Minto, Viceroy. Now we have to talk about features. Features that first are number of members in both central and provincial legislative council increased. Second, enlarged function of members allowed to ask supplementary questions, move resolutions on budgets. Third is Association of India with Viceroy Satyendra Prasad Sinha, first Indian to join Viceroy Executive Council, also appointed law member. Fourth is communal representative system introduced for Muslim separate electorate elected by Muslim voters. Lord Minto, known as the father of communal electorate. Separate representations for presidencies, corporations, chambers of commerce, universities, and zamindars. Now we have to talk about Government of India 1919. August 20, 1917, British government formally announced objective gradually introduce responsible government in India, known as Montagu Chelmsford. There is a home rule movement also. Home rule movement also. And Montagu Chelmsford was Secretary of State for India. Lord Chelmsford was the Viceroy of India. India. The features we have to talk about that in this central and provincial list created for special law making structure of government was unitary, into hierarchy dividing provincial subject in transferred and reversed, introduced bicameralization and direct elections. 3 of 6 members, Viceroy's Council Indians, communal representation extended to include 6 Indian Christians, Anglo-Indians and Europeans. New Office of High Commission for India in London, establishment of Central Public Service Commission 1924, recruiting civil servants, separated provincial budget and central budget. Now we have to talk about Simon Commission 1920. Everyone know that Simon Commission, that 7 members statutory commission under Sir John Simon to check the progress of reforms, recommended the abolition of diarchy, extension of responsible government in India, province establishment of Federation of British India and princely state, continuation of communal electorate based on recommendation white paper on constitutional reforms. The Communal Award 1932, Ramsay MacDonald, the British Prime Minister, announced the scheme of representation of minorities, extend separate electorate to depressed classes, scheduled castes. Gandhiji protest in Yerwada Jail Pune Act, agreement with INC and depressed classes, Hindu Joint Electorate Pune Pact. The Government of India 1935, therein 321 sections and 10th schedule, establishment of all India Federation consisting of province and princely state as unit, 3 list, federal list for center with 59 items, provincial list province with 54 items, and concurrent list for both with 36 items. Reserve power to Viceroy, abolished hierarchy, introduced provincial autonomy, adoption of hierarchy at center federation subject were divided into reversed subject, transferred subject, and etc. There are features of are there bicameralization in 6 out of 11 provinces Bengal, Bombay, Madras, Bihar, Assam, and United Provinces. Separate electorate for different classes, scheduled castes, women, and labor workers. Establishment of Reserve Bank of India, control currency and creditor. They are आप सब आप सबको बताना कि रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया का पहला हेडक्वार्टर कहाँ था. कमेंट जरूर करिएगा. And establishment of federal court set up in 1937. The Indian Independence Act of 1947 that British Prime Minister Clement Attlee declared the British rule in India would end by June 30, 1948, applicable to those provinces that wanted to accept Constitution of India framed by Constitution Assembly, Muslim League demanding partitions. Cause are there: World War II, weakness British economically, role of TNA outside India as well as in India, crisp proposal, say 1942, Shoot India movement launched by Gandhi in 1942, cabinet mission plan, provide for making constitution assembly also, and revolt of Indian Navy and Indian Army against Britishers. And there are some features that India British rule and declared India independent, sovereign from August 5, 1947, partition of India, creation of two states, India and Pakistan, empowered the constitution assemblies, both state and frame constitution to govern the state, abolish office of viceroy, secretary of state, freedom to princely state, join either India or Pakistan, dropped emperor of India for the British monarch, discontinued an appointment of civil service, reservation of post, vice secretary of state for India. Those appointments pre-year continued. Lord Mountbatten put fourth partition plan. Mountbatten plan also became first Governor General of the new Dominion of India, and subsequently Constitutional Assembly of India formed in 1946 became the Parliament of the Indian Dominion with Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru as the Prime Minister and Dr. Rajendra Prasad becoming as the first President of India. Thank you to everyone. आप सबको इस चैनल पर बने रहने. Please subscribe the channel and all do like and also share it. Please. Thank you everyone.